But the breakdown in respect for the law in this country, which was, it's been a long time coming. That's one thing the Christians have tried to do for about 5 decades now. I mean, seriously try to do it. Destroy civil law. Just absolutely destroy it. And the quickest way to destroy it is to cause people to lose confidence in our system, our judicial system. This is what the Christians have been after since the moral majority and Jerry Falwell and the rest of these scum. But along came Trump then, right? Trump, who personifies everything destructive, totalitarian, sick, stupid. It's Donald Trump. It all centers in him. And the Christians love him for it, not because of it, but they love him for it, for what he is doing. Well, that sickness of Trump and the refusal during the investigation of what happened on January 6th, the refusal of members of Congress to honor subpoenas, the refusal to accept the will of the people where it concerned the election, the refusal, in other words, to follow the law, is now manifesting on all levels of government in this country. Let me give you 2 examples, Alabama and Texas. I know those are terrible examples, but what the hell? In Texas, the sitting governor there, Greg Abbott, that miserable son of a bitch, today let the Biden administration know that the state of Texas is going to continue using this floating barrier in the middle of the Rio Grande River. No matter what the White House or the law or the Justice Department says, there is no respect that is offered by Christian fascists for civil government. They don't want it. Now, this move by this crazy bastard Abbott came just a few hours before a deadline that the U.S. Department of Justice set late last week. And that's when the Justice Department warned this crazy bastard Abbott that barrier in the Rio Grande with those huge barrels, those floating, they look like orange barrels. If you try to grab the side of one, it just spins. And razor wire that hangs people up and causes pregnant women to get caught in the razor wire and miscarry. I talked about this last week when I lost my shit completely. But the Justice Department has tried to tell the governor of Texas, this crazy bastard Abbott, that what he has done in the Rio Grande violates federal law. In addition to violating federal law, it raises all sorts of humanitarian concerns. And it also can interfere with the federal government's duties. Now, a lot of this is reported in Texas by Texas Public Radio, but Governor Abbott doesn't give a shit, just like Trump doesn't, just like Netanyahu doesn't, just like the legislature in Alabama doesn't. There is lawlessness afoot on this planet right now that is just incredible. And I think part of the reason is the hell that's being visited on this planet, not from any supernatural being, but because we just refuse to follow common sense and the law and science over the past 6-7 decades. Look what's happening. Look at it. Anyway, in response to what the Justice Department has tried to tell this Christian son of a bitch Abbott in Texas, well, he responded today and said it's his right to secure the state's border because the federal government refuses to. Well, jackwad, if you want to secure your border, go ahead. But your border actually starts where the land starts that meets the Rio Grande River. I mean, where Texas meets the river, that's Texas, not the middle of the river. Oh, well. So Abbott wrote, he tweeted, Texas will see you in court, Mr. President. And he tried to cite previous federal rulings that he said gives him the authority to do what he's doing. And he also said in his tweet, quote, I have asserted Texas's sovereign interest in protecting her borders. Your ongoing violation of the U.S. Constitution has left me no other choice, end quote. Violation of the Constitution. This is what these Christian right-wing devils always come up with. You're violating the Constitution. You secularists, you non-believing bastards, you government agents, you're violating the Constitution. You're destroying my right to believe what I want to believe and be a good Christian and kill people and cause women to get hung up on razor wire. The Justice Department said Texas would violate the federal River Harbors Act. And it says here, it prohibits building, quote, any wharf, pier, dolphin, boom, weir, breakwater, bulkhead, jetty, or other structure, end quote. And that Texas didn't apply for or receive the proper permits. And Abbott rejected that too. You know, I'm sure Abbott probably said the Texas equivalent of stick your permits where the sun don't shine, boys. So instead of following the law, instead of acting as though he lives in a democratic republic, this little Nazi son of a bitch Abbott repeatedly blamed the federal government for causing the migrant deaths on the border, and the federal government for these record levels of fentanyl that are entering the country. Yeah, it's the federal government's part. It's the federal government's part allowing fentanyl into the country. But by God, Greg Abbott has figured out a way to keep women and children and babies and nursing mothers out of the country. Just put up barriers. Let them drown. That'll teach them. Now, this so-called dispute over the federal government, the dispute over the border, I should say, comes about as the Biden administration is separately assessing Texas border mission. That one called Operation Lone Star that I told you about last week, which began in 2021. And the feds are taking a look at these reports that members of the Texas Department of Public Safety told troopers in Eagle Pass to push a group of migrants, which included small children and nursing babies, back into the water of the Rio Grande River. These migrants who are attempting to cross into the United States. And also trying to investigate witness reports and evidence of at least one woman, pregnant, trying to get the U.S., got caught in razor wire and miscarried. And I had some trouble with that. Thank God, Tony Bennett's music. I'm not trying to be cavalier here because I know that the woman was, it was a horrible story. But trying to get that image out of my mind of a woman miscarrying, caught in razor wire, in the water of the Rio Grande, screaming in agony. That's a hard one to deal with. But the Christians in Texas, in Greg Abbott's administration, they don't give a shit. They don't care. They don't care at all, not one iota. And these are the times when I just wish that all this Christian mythology or some religious mythology was true, so that these people would suffer the tortures of the damned at some point in their miserable, well, I guess Greg Abbott already is, isn't he? Yeah. Those reports about what the Abbott administration has done in Texas prompted Texas Democrats, people who advocate for the safety of immigrants, as Jesus told his followers to do, civil rights organizations, all of them urging the Biden administration to do more to stop what this little piglet, the sitting governor of Texas, is doing. He's doing it to people. And, you know, there was one comment by one of the Texas border security people over the weekend, or I guess the latter part of last week, that really made my head snap. And that's when one of them one of the border guards was trying to show his compassion for the people trying to get to the United States. And he said, among other things, I'm paraphrasing, but I'm not paraphrasing the part I'm going to get to here that really shocked me. But he was saying, these are women and children. These are Christians. He said that. These are Christians trying to get into the United States. Well, what if they were Hindus or Jews or Muslims or atheists? I mean, how do you know they're Christians here, Mr. Border Guard? And what the hell difference does that make? Well, that's the thing. It makes all the difference in the world. Christians. Abbott, in a joint statement with the Texas Department of Public Safety Director and the Texas Border Czar and Texas Adjutant General, in a joint statement with all these tough-ass right-wingers, the statement said that no orders have been given to deliberately mistreat migrants. Oh, well then, Abbott, then everything's cool. If women get tangled up in razor wire, hell, you didn't issue no order, did you? Saying, I want women tangled up in razor wire, and if possible, make the bitches miscarry. You didn't issue an order like that, did you, Greg? You punk. Oh, my God. And then the other three that joined in that statement with him, I mean, how filthy. Department of Public Safety Director in Texas, Steve McCraw. Texas Border Chief, Mike Banks. Texas Adjutant General, Major General Thomas Swelzer. We didn't give no orders to mistreat no migrants. We're Christian. It's just so difficult not to fall into the raging, name-calling, vile language MO that I usually get into about this stuff, When we come back from the break, the other part of this lawlessness, this realization by Christian fascist leaders in the various states around the country that they can tell the federal government to fuck off. They don't have to do anything they don't want to do without realizing they're quoting Shakespeare. They're all saying, the law is a ass. They don't care anymore. So Alabama Republicans pushed through a new congressional map on Friday that will test the bounds of a judicial mandate to create a second majority black district in the state, or something close to it, which really has infuriated the plaintiffs in the court case and the Democrats who predicted this plan would never pass muster with the judicial panel charged with approving it. But the state of Texas doesn't give a shit. They've already been ordered by the Supreme Court that no, you can't have just one black district in the state of Alabama. You cannot do it. And the state of Alabama has said, we will do what we damn well please because we are Christians. And we have permission from Jesus H. Christ and his daddy to do whatever damn we choose to do to keep these niggers from raising up and trying to get power in our state. Ooh, I think I just yelled there, didn't I? Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. The Progressive Voices Network brings you commercial-free commentary from today's leading progressive radio hosts and pundits, like me, Mike Malloy, 24 hours a day. I'm not your typical old guy from the 80s or the 90s talk radio host, and Progressive Voices is not your typical talk radio network. It's a listener-supported nonprofit with no corporate control whatsoever over our broadcast. So hosts like me, Mike Malloy, are free to rant and scream and carry on about whatever we like. We're often controversial, but we're never boring. Weeknights, 9 p.m. in the East, 6 p.m. in the West on the Progressive Voices Network. Always progressive, always on. I'm Mike Malloy. Keep it lit.